Hey everybody, Punisher88 here, coming to you live with the end of the year roundup. So how I'm doing this video is, I comprised a list of 12 comics, one from each month of the year, and basically I'm going to relay them back on you guys and tell you what I thought of them. Tell you a little bit about them and whatnot. Sound good? Alright, so starting in January, I went with the Twilight Zone #1 from Dynamite Comics. And a little bit about this book. It's your basic Wall Street businessman embezzles millions type of story. And it revolves around this character named Trevor Richmond. And he gets desperate after embezzling all these millions of dollars, and now he wants to avoid the consequences of his actions. So he goes to this company called Expedited Services Incorporated, and they tell him that basically they can make him disappear and give him a whole new life, and the Trevor Richmond that the world knows today, they'll never even know he existed tomorrow, pretty much. So that's part of the story. I don't want to give too much away of the story in that, because I want you guys to read them too, you know. So this book, Twilight Zone #1, is the first of 3 interlocking stories that really push the boundaries of the Twilight Zone into new territory. Basically, with these 3 the stories they're talking about, we got tales of traveling into the past and the future. We got tales of murder and revenge, and we got a story of all-out nuclear Armageddon. So pretty cool how they're all intertwined. The series itself is written by J. Michael Straczynski. He is the creator of the show Babylon 5. You guys might have heard of it. He also did some writing over at Marvel. He did some writing on Thor, as well as a title called Changeling. I've never really heard of that title, so I don't know if it's Marvel or whatever. And excuse me. And he also wrote the World War Z story. No, I've never read it yet, and I've never seen the movie as well. I know, what's taking me so long, huh? And also, the artwork on this series is phenomenal, because it's done by Francesco Francavilla. I don't know if that's saying it properly, but he does the artwork on this series, and it's really good. He's also done, I think, if not artwork for the series, but covers for the Afterlife with Archie series. Really cool stuff. So that's for January. Moving on to February. Now, I couldn't do a list without this character showing up at least once. So, in February, we saw the return of one of Marvel's most famous badasses, when Nathan Edmondson and Mitch Gerads took on the Punisher. And basically, as it goes, for many years, Frank has waged a war on crime in the Big Apple with a vast variety of guns to boot. And after he gets he gets a lead on a major drug and weapons source, he sets his sights on the West, and he moves out to L.A. And looking to give the devil his due, things aren't all wine and roses for Mr. Frank Castle. Why, you ask? Well, after moving to L.A., we find out that there's a military-trained hit squad on his trail. So, with all this going on, Frank's basically caught between a crew of these Punisher predators, as they're calling them, and targets of his own one-man war. So what it all boils down to, and what's the expression? What his manifest destiny comes out to is he may no sorry, what his manifest destiny is it may be a shallow grave. This series came out in February. I started with this and been with it ever since issue 1. Fantastic stuff. Oh, I wanted to point out, as you guys just saw before, um, again, it sounds like I'm reading to you guys or whatever. As you can see, my notes are down here. So I'm relaying this all back because there's a lot of stuff I want to let you guys know about. So anyway, moving along. So that was February, moving into March. We get a story from, I believe it was Image Comics. We get Starlight #1. This is a Frank Miller classic. It went on for 6 issues, and I still haven't read issue 6 yet. I still have to get issue 6. Telling the story of Duke McQueen, who 40 years prior to issue #1 was a space hero. He saved the universe and everything. He had almost like God status. But then he came home, he came back to Earth. Reality took over when basically he got married, he had kids, and he grew old. You know, it happens. But now his kids have left, they've grown up, they moved away, his wife passed away, and all he's left with is just his memories of when he was this, this young space hero and everything. So now, with all just these memories, he's thinking, is he washed up, whatever. And then he gets this call from a distant world asking him back. So he gets excited because it's like, this is his chance for his last hurrah, pretty much. And it's a really good story. I suggest you guys go check it out. So as I mentioned before, it was written by Mark Miller, and the artwork is really good on this book too. It's done by an artist named, again, don't get mad if I say this wrong, Goran Parlov. I know, I apologize a lot because I don't want to offend anyone out there for, getting the name wrong. But anyway, he's the one who does the artwork. So, moving on to April now. We're getting into spring. And this is another character I figured he should show up on the list at least once. None of the characters show up twice on the list, just to point that out. And some people like this character a lot, some people hate him, but it's Deadpool. And the issue I went with was Deadpool #27. I mean, basically, I put this on here even just for the cover alone. For those of you who are wondering, Deadpool 27 is the Deadpool wedding issue. So you know why I mentioned just for the cover alone, because I think it got a world record or whatever for having the most characters on one comic cover or something. I think it was like 236 characters, I think. I'm not sure on the exact number, but there's a lot of them. And anyway, so basically with this, it's basically the day you never thought was going to happen. Deadpool's finally getting married. And the cool thing about this book is not only does Gary Duggan write an awesome story in the main chunk of it, because it's like 80 pages, so there's your main story and other stuff. But the other part of the book is you get every writer who's ever done work on a Deadpool title in that part of the book. So it's really neat. And like the title goes, it really is the most important issue 27 in the history of comics. Well, I don't know if you could say in the history of comics, Because when you look back, back in 1939, there was the first appearance of that Bat guy. So I know he's kind of a big deal. So maybe this is the second most important, issue 27. All right, so we zoomed through April. Now we're moving into May. So this is the at this point of the list, I have a split decision. I have 2 books in one slot, and the books were the Future's End #0 and V-Wars #0, both from Free Comic Book Day. So with Future's End #0, sorry, it takes place 35 years in the future, and it's not really a fun place. There's this character named Brother I, and he's pretty much obliterated and overtaken the world. And there's still a few heroes left, and there's some villains too. They're forced to turn into heroes pretty much, and they join together and they become a resistance. But we all kind of know how that turns out in other stories that go along those lines. So yeah. So that's the first book. The second book is V-Wars #0. And this story is really good. It's sort of horror related. There's some gruesome imagery stuff at times, but really good story. And it revolves around this massive war between humans and vampires. And in the 0 issue, we get it's pretty much a prequel to the main story that's to come of this. It tells of this vampire outbreak and how human and vampire relations really broke down pretty much. We also, well, not also, the story pretty much is told from the point of view of the main character. His name's Dr. Luther Swan. And in the 0 issue, he talks about how he's navigated through some of the earliest battles between the vampires and the humans. And he talks about how things escalated like way out of hand and where they are at now, pretty much. So very, very good series. I think they're at like issue 6 now, I think. It's from IDW, so I suggest you check it out. Also cool artwork too. Oh my god, sorry. Okay, so now moving into June. The comic I picked for that month was Outcast from Image, I believe. A lot of Image-oriented stuff on this list, I find. So far, we've only had 2 Marvel books. Oh well, I'm not complaining. I hope you guys aren't either, so. Anyway, Outcast #1. This series is a real gem from Robert Kirkman of The Walking Dead fame. Basically, it's about a man's destroyed life and how he makes an attempt to finally get to the bottom of it and everything. Just to let you guys know, this series is not a happy series. It's not your happy-go-lucky story or whatever. It's horror mixed with, your whole demons and exorcism type stuff. It's dark. What else? There's a lot of, well, not a lot, but there's some frightening images at times. Sorry, I can't talk for some reason this morning. But the artwork is done really good, though. I think you guys will like it. The series follows a tortured man named Kyle Barnes, who's been plagued by demonic possession all his life, and now he needs answers to, why his life has been plagued so much. So, unfortunately, when he sets out to find these answers, what he does find could pretty much bring the end of life on Earth. Bring sorry, he could bring what he finds along the way could bring about the end of life on Earth as we know it. There we go. Oh my God. So yeah, I suggest you guys check out Outcast if you're not reading it already. It's really good, and I hear apparently they're planning on turning it into a TV show or something. So more good stuff coming from that. So moving on to July, summertime, my birthday month. I went with the Iron Fist, the Living Weapon, number 4. Not only do I love this issue, but I love the series in general. The writer, I keep pronouncing his first name. I don't know if I'm saying it wrong or whatever, but it's K.R. Andrews. I think that's how you say it. Anyway, he's a super talented guy with his artwork and everything, and he's also a great guy in person. I've met him once. I met him in September at Comic-Con. We struck up a conversation. We were talking about the series and everything. I got a free sketch. Really cool. So, yeah, great guy and everything. So, in this issue, in issue 4, it deals with some moments in Danny's history more than the startling stuff that happened in the last issue. And the thing I really like about this book is how Andrews makes the pages you're reading during the whole flashback scenes look really like weathered and old. He makes it look like really crinkled paper. Like it's such a cool effect. I wish I had the book here with me so I could show you guys, but it's just done really cool. And I find you don't really see stuff like that in a lot of comics these days. So, yeah. Anyway, chugging along. We're at 17 minutes. I knew this was going to be a long video, but anyway, I hope you guys stick through to the end. So, yeah. August. Now, this book, the book I picked for August, I think is probably one of my most favorite picks on the list. For August, I picked The Fade Out number 1. It's pretty much Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips whipping up some crime story gold, man. Well, okay. Just listen and hear me out and see if this doesn't sound mouth-watering to you, okay? The place, Hollywood. The year, 1948. Okay. A noir film stuck in endless reshoots, a writer plagued with nightmares from the war and a dangerous secret, an up-and-coming starlet's suspicious death, and a maniacal studio mogul and a security chief who will do anything to keep the cameras rolling before the post-war boom days come crashing down. Huh? Not bad, huh? I thought so. Okay, moving along here. 8. So, moving into September now, summer's dying down and everything. I decided to go with another Marvel book. I went with The Death of Wolverine number 1. Okay, I'll be honest, I bought into the hype on this one. I mean, such an iconic character being killed off, say it ain't so, right? Well, with the whole 3 months to die thing, and along with his loss of his healing factor a couple months prior to all this, this is the single most important X-Men event of the decade, and I was like, I had to go with this because it's such a big thing, I mean, when you look at it, Logan spent over a century being the best there is at what he does, and he did it well. He kicked ass, man. Woof, did he ever. But I mean, when you really look at it, even the best fade away sooner or later, right? So, mind you, it was a good book. I mean, to myself anyway, I find it was a good book. Some others might not be too into it because it was kind of like a director's cut kind of book. You had the story, and then you had like 9 pages of like interview stuff and sketch work and all this stuff. And I saw online a lot of people were a little ticked off about that. So it's probably not for everyone, but I liked it. So anyway. Okay, moving into October now, and from October till the end of this list, I've done videos reviewing these titles. So what I'm gonna do is in the description below, I'm going to put links to those videos. So if you guys want to check them out after watching this, or watching part of this and just go, hey, there's links in the description, I'll go look at those. If you guys feel like doing that, cool. So, for October, I went with Bucky Barnes, The Winter Soldier #1. And to be honest, this is probably my second favorite pick on this list, next to the Fade Out #1. I won't go too far into it, because as I just mentioned, I did a review of it. But in this book, basically, we get Bucky Barnes. He's watching over Earth now as ordered by Nick Fury because of the whole original sin outcome. And he's partnered with this girl named Daisy Johnson. And their chemistry together, it's amazing. It's super funny. And anyone who knows Alice Cott's writing, you guys would know that he is so great at putting humor into a story. If you've read his Secret Avengers stuff or whatever, he does a lot of humor stuff. And the artwork, Marco Rudy, oh my god. I swear to God, I think he channeled his inner Steranko on this series, man. It's so trippy, but as trippy as it is, I say just give this series a go, because it's amazing. So you don't have to take it from me, but I think you'll like it if you're into that whole psychedelic thing. So anyway, number 11, or November. I'm sure there was quite a few good books that came out that month, but the one I went with was the Multiversity Pax Americana #1. I think of all the books I chose for this list, this one is going to make you guys read it at least more than once, to really get a grasp of it out of all the, to really get a grasp of it. Out of all the Multiversity books so far, and I haven't read Thunderworld yet, I know that's the newest one, this one I think is the most intricate. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of detail and all this crazy stuff. And I really find Grant Morrison went all out on this one, and Frank Quitely's art is really superb as well. In this book, Pax Americana, some of the heroes that are featured are The Question, Blue Beetle, Captain Atom, Nightshade, and Peacemaker. I don't know much about him or her or whichever. But the heroes that I mentioned, they're shown like you've never seen them before. A little bit about the story is, as the assassination of the U.S. president leads to political intrigue and interpersonal drama and astrophysical wonder, the truth behind the crime and those involved will really blow your mind. I find anyway, they will. Or to those of you who read it already, probably thought the same thing. Also, it leaves you wondering of, what confidential conversation between the president and Captain Atom could reveal everything, or how far will the Question go and take his hunt for the truth before he starts hurting former friends, let alone himself. And who is this steel-handed boogeyman in the shadows really pulling the strings and stuff, It's It's an amazing, well, okay. I don't know if it's an amazing book, but it's definitely up there. And if this sounds a lot like Watchmen to you, that's also kind of why I put it on this list, because it kind of is like Watchmen. And to wrap everything up, going into December, I chose Bitch Planet #1. Uh, this I know this book gathered a lot of buzz and everything, and also it's a book I pretty much picked up by fluke. I saw it on a pick of the week type of stand or whatever, and I was like, okay, I'll check it out. But when I started skimming through it, and I sensed all this, sexploitation kind of, I spit on your grave kind of vibe, I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm picking this up, and that's that. Mind you, it is rated mature. There's some nudity and there's some blood and stuff in it. But even besides all that, it's still a very good book. And I won't dive any deeper into it because, as I mentioned again, I did a review of this book. So if you guys want to check out the review, just click the links below. All right. So 26 minutes and 30 seconds later, we're finally finished that 12 comic list. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you stuck around. And, well, I won't be doing a comic book review tonight since tonight is New Year's. So I will probably post tomorrow or on Friday what went on tonight at my family New Year's party get together, whatever. Do a little home movie thing. So since there's going to be no review tonight, to all the viewers and all the subscribers out there, I want to wish you guys a very happy New Year. I hope 2015 is great for you guys, and I hope it's a safe New Year. I want to see all you guys tomorrow. Don't do any funny stuff, or I'm gonna come after you. No, I can't come after you. I don't know where you all live. Anyway, before I start rambling anymore, again, Happy New Year's, guys. Let's have a good 2015 ahead of us, and I wish you all the best. All right, guys. Punisher88 signing out. Laters.